And now I would like to introduce Alexandra Gonzalez of the Voices of Homelessness through the Rhode Island Coalition of Homeless.
Hello, good evening. My name is Alexandria Gonzalez. I hope everyone is excited and grateful to be here as I am. I'm here tonight to give you a brief storyline of my life and my past experiences in a way that legislation will be able to see why certain programs and provisions should be in place to better serve our residents as a community to combat the housing crisis. So as I said earlier, my name is Alexandria. I'm a single mom who is in school on disability and a volunteer outreach worker. I am a former drug addict and domestic violence survivor. I've been sober since 2014 and was on methadone for 11 years and ended in 2016. I'm still fighting my sobriety, and I continue to attend counseling and meetings that are available to me. I am also a mom of 3 girls and 1 boy. I have sole custody of my 2-year-old son. My 3 girls were adopted in 2013 due to my drug addiction and not being able to put a roof over their head. I've been chronically homeless from 2011 to 2016. The first time I was homeless was in high school when my mother had gone to jail. 2013, my daughter's father committed suicide by deliberate overdose. I woke up in bed and found him next to me. We had been staying in a hotel, waiting till the apartment we were hoping to move into was available. Because of his death, I was not able to move into that apartment, nor was I able to pay bills. I believe that because of the pressures of personal issues and not being able to provide a roof over our kid's head drove him to suicide. With him no longer in my life, I could no longer afford bills at all. So his death forced me into a shelter. I had given up all hope at this time, and I felt it was impossible for me to get housing, and I needed in Rhode Island. So I decided to move to Colorado, into a shelter, to see what that state had to offer me. I chose Colorado because I lived there as a child with my mother. I thought to myself, getting an apartment here is absolutely impossible, and I had nothing to lose. Already I had lost my father to overdose, my brother, and my daughter's father. At this time, I had lost my 3 children as well to the addiction and no stable home. While in the shelter, I was able to utilize all my resources, and I was getting to start a solid foundation when I received a phone call from my mom saying her house burned down. So I ran back to Rhode Island, and I had nothing to come back to. It was 2015 when I returned back. When I got back, I was homeless for a while, staying wherever I could. Then I decided to myself, staying on the street, I wasn't going to stay clean. So I went into a women's drug program until a bed at the women's shelter opened. Once I moved into the shelter, it wasn't easy being kicked out all day. At the same time, looking for apartments, you really don't keep any positive mind state. I would go fill out applications and try to stay positive, but it just really was hard. Every time I would go and I would talk to these people and say, hey, who I am, where I'm from, whatever, they would bring up my income and their income guidelines. An average 1-bedroom apartment is $750 to $900 in the state of Rhode Island. So this is extremely difficult to get housing unless you work 3 jobs. Reasons being that most landlords are now asking 3 times the amount of rent as your income. So if we're making $10.50 an hour here on minimum wage and you're working 40 hours a week, you need at least $2,200 to maintain that, 1 bedroom, but I'm only making 14. So there's no way that I could do that. I would definitely have to work 3 jobs. Now, so by these landlords doing this is something that is extremely unrealistic. On top of this, is it being unrealistic, it clearly shows me, and I hope all of you, that housing prices are way too high while wages are way too low. Never mind the fact that, remember now, you have to furnish these homes, you have to put clothes on your back and food on your table. Wait a second, you've got a light bill and a gas bill too. And you better hope you don't have any kids, because then diapers come into play. Through the help of a nonprofit organization and the methadone program that I was on, and my hard work, I was able to get a housing subsidy voucher, which I currently still have and have been housed since 2016. Recently, though, I received a Section 8 voucher in April of last year, which I thought was going to help me, and I was going to be finally able to just have a little worry off of my shoulders. That's not what happened. The voucher did no good to me in my immediate thought process. At this time, I am still not housed with my Section 8 voucher. What I have found is every time I talk to a landlord over the phone, they immediately deny me. It is not even a 2-second conversation. The answer is no. So then my next approach was, well, let me not talk to them over the phone, tell them all my details. I'll go to the place and then they can meet me, you know, because I don't look like or what I came from anyway. So that doesn't work either, because then you have some more barriers that come into play. So these were 90% of the apartments that I went to. Because there is such a stigma associated with Section 8, that you're a scumbag, that you're on welfare, that you're a drug addict, that you're gonna wreck their apartment, they don't wanna help you. So maybe putting some incentives for these landlords, I believe, you know, might help a little. Oh boy. By disposing dismissed evictions, this could help people in so many ways. I have an eviction on my record, and it was not my fault. It was dismissed. But it's been brought up time and time and time again. If we can use the funding stream to provide affordable housing and have low-income housing, more of them, I wouldn't have this issue. I'd be able to go directly to these places, and they wouldn't ask me 3 times the amount of my rent as income. They wouldn't ask me these questions because they know I'm already low income. Also, most places now ask for a $25 to $30 application fee that you're never going to see. And I mean, in my eyes, it's extortion, but it's not, but it is. So by the grace of God, hopefully in a week, I will find out if, you know, my voucher will be accepted. And, you know, then Rhode Island Housing would have to port it out. But nor here nor there. We need support and services. That's what it boils down to the most vulnerable people that are in the streets. Because how do we stop the people that are holding signs? How do we stop people from using drugs? How do we stop the mental illness? You give them a stable environment to go home to. You give them a place to lay their head and say, okay, now I can figure out what my next step is. But you can't do that until they at least have that. So I truly believe by applying at least 2 of these strategies, only 2 of them, would make positive change for all our low-income residents. We need to expand these supportive services for the most vulnerable neighbors. You know, we're ready to criticize, but we're not ready to even give them, not a handout, just a hand up. We could help change the way people live in Rhode Island by doing these things and actually, you know, doing what Gina Raimondo proposed. We could provide a safe, successful way to approach this housing crisis. Thank you.